Hassler here. So you should have watched the video on the 5.2 lesson on the World Cup. That's what we did in class. And so now I'm going to give some more direct notes on what it means to be a function and how things should be paired in order to be a function. We're going to create some examples of things that are functions and things that are not functions. And your job is to try to check your understanding for 5.2 as well as do the practice for 5.2 and to let me know what questions you have. So some vocabulary that we need to make sure that we work on is what a relation is versus a function. So a relation in math is just some relationship. So I'm going to say a relation, literally the first half of relationship. A relation connects a set of inputs to a set of outputs. So every question that we answered in the World Cup example was a relation. The host country was related to the year, was related to the winner, was related to the number of goals. It's just that not every relationship was a function. Only some of them were functions. So let's define what a function is specifically. A function is a special type of relation. So we're going to say a function is a relation. A function connects an input with an output. But specifically, a function is a relation where each input, and remember, input are your x values, connects to a unique, so only one, output, which remember is a y value. Okay, so a function is a relation where each input, each x, connects to a unique or to only one output. And I want to do some examples. This 5.2 examples A says create an example of a table and an example of a graph that is a function. So let's do a table. So we're connecting x with y. So in my table, maybe I have like -3 and -3 on x. I'll connect it to 4. And then maybe -2 for x gets connected to 5. Maybe -1 for x gets connected to 5. 0, I'll connect it to 7. Each x value gets connected to only one y value. Actually, I'm going to come down here to B. B says create an example of a table and an example of a graph that is not a function. So I want to show you a table that is not a function so you can see the difference between what a function is and what a function is not. So again, let's start with -3. I'm going to connect that to 4. And then -2, I'm going to connect that to 5. But maybe I connect to -2 again, and I put -2 with 7. And then I've got -1. We'll just say goes with 8. And so the reason why example B is not a function is because -2, this x value, got matched to 2 different y values versus every single x value in the table above was only listed one time. So it only got paired to one y value. Because the x value in example B was of -2 was listed twice, it got matched to 2 different y values. That makes this not a function. So actually I'm going to come over here and make a note. We can say that means to be a function, x's do not repeat. It's actually okay for the y's to repeat. So I'm going to say y's can repeat, which you see happening over here in my example. It's okay if y's repeat. It's not okay for x's repeat. The definition of a function says that each input, each x, connects to only one y. So I can't have x's repeat because that means x got connected to more than one y. Okay. All right, so let's go into a graph. We're going to create an example that is a function. So let's make our axes here. And an example that would be a function might look something like this. So if I were to, make this little line at each x value, notice that every single point has only one x value matched with one y value. I only ever have one point lined up at a time as I move along the x-axis. Okay, so this would be a function. Let's come down here to not a function. Something that would not be a function would be something like this. And the reason why this would not be a function is if I were to draw a line through this x value, notice that this x value here gets matched to one y value, a second y value, and a third y value. X got matched to 3 different y values. And so for that reason, this would not be a function. And so these are the choices that we're going to be making. We're going to be choosing whether something is a function or is not a function. It is a function if the x's do not repeat. It is not a function if the x's do repeat. Finally, just some reminder for vocabulary. When we talk about the independent variable, we're talking about x. And when we talk about the dependent variable, we're talking about y. I know that's review, but I just want to make sure we had that in there for our practice. All right, so again, your job is to try the 5.2, check your understanding, to work on the 5.2 practice, and to let me know what questions you have.